Good afternoon, Jamaica. Good afternoon as well to the Jamaicans in New York who will join us in the course of the program through Irish Jam. I'm Bruce Golding. This is Jamaica Live, and we are on every Monday from 12 to 2, trying to focus our minds on issues of importance to us as a people, as a country. We do it here every Monday, and I'm looking forward to the program. So thank you very much for joining me. So starting on a personal note, today, the 20th of February, happens to be the birthday of my grandson, Custatius, who is all of 11 today. And I just want to hail him up. He probably won't hear me because he's at school. But I'm sure somebody's going to tell him that Grandpa was hailing him up, and I'm going to link with him. I'm going to touch base with him later today in the afternoon. I want to take note as well of the passing of two notable Jamaicans. First, the retired former Anglican Archbishop of Kingston, Dr. Robert Thompson, who passed away since I was last on air. He's someone I know very well. We went to school together, although he was a couple of years behind me. We went to school at JC. But I wanted to extend my condolences to his wife Charmaine and the children and all the members of the family. And then also we lost former PNP Senator, former Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Delano Franklin. And since we have a diaspora audience on this program, I must mention that when he was Minister of State in the Ministry of Ministry of Foreign Affairs, he did some considerable work building our diaspora connections and helping to put in place the structures to link us and to energize the Jamaicans who live abroad. So I wanted to extend my condolences to his family as well. And then we're all bracing ourselves for news regarding former President of the United States, Jimmy Carter, who has been in and out of hospital over the last couple of months, but has taken a decision that he wants to spend the rest of his days at home with his family. So America is bracing itself for news, expected news regarding his situation. President Carter, he served for president for one term between 1976 and 1980. And although one of the things that perhaps hampered him in terms of how history regards his presidency was the hostage situation in Iran. Remember when they held a lot of Americans there hostage for several months, and that really hurt him, certainly hurt his attempts to get reelected in 1980. But he did some good things. The Camp David Accord was the first real serious breakthrough in trying to create a framework for peace between the Israelis and the Palestinians, and he has to be credited for that. That situation perhaps has not advanced as far as it should have, but he really broke ground with that Camp David Accord when he got Arafat of the PLO, and who was it? Was it Benin from Israel? Got them together at Camp David and got them to at least agree on certain basic rules as to how the Palestinians and the Israelis were going to relate to each other. And he has to be given credit for that. I met him when he came here. He came here after the 1997 elections. The Carter Center came to observe the elections, and he actually led the team himself. Another member of that team was the late General Colin Powell. And I remember after the elections, I met with them at the Sheraton Hotel, just to review the elections and how they went, and to share with them some thoughts as to the issue of electoral reform and how we could further advance it. So we're bracing ourselves. But I want to convey best wishes to the Carter family. This is Bridge 99. This is Jamaica Live. We're going to be doing this program until 2 o'clock, and I'll be back in a moment. A few hundred miles to the east of us in Jamaica is a crisis that we seem to be inclined to ignore. I'm talking about Haiti, a country with such a gloriously courageous history. There were several slave rebellions in the colonies of the Caribbean. Most of them were quickly put down by the white slave masters and their militias. Some were more formidable, like the one in Barbuda in 1816. And there was one in Guyana, a major one, in 1823. And of course, the one in Jamaica in 1831, led by Sam Sharp. But even those were put down in brutal fashion. Sam Sharp was hanged from the gallows in Montego Bay, what we now call Sam Sharp Square. Haiti is the only slave colony where the slaves put up such a fierce fight, led by Toussaint Louverture, over a period of 13 years, that the white slave masters, even with their troops, had to give up. And Haiti proclaimed its independence in 1804. That is almost 30 years before slavery was formally abolished in other parts of the world. We know the case of Jamaica when slavery was abolished. Britain paid £20 million, big money at that time, £20 million to compensate the slave owners for the loss of what they claimed was their property, the slaves. Not one penny was provided for the slaves, who had been held in bondage for 200 years and who were robbed of their liberty, their dignity, their humanity, and whose civilization and culture were disrupted. The situation in Haiti was even worse. When the slaves there successfully fought off the white French slave masters, the government of France sent an armada of warships, and with their cannons locked and loaded, forced Haiti to sign an agreement to pay France 100 million French francs as reparations for the loss of what they claimed was their property, which they were now being deprived of, the slaves. Haiti spent the next 150 years scraping and juggling and sacrificing to pay this money, depriving itself of the money it needed to build schools and hospitals and infrastructure so that the country could develop. To this day, even when slavery is acknowledged to have been an abomination, the worst form of injustice and exploitation, the most savage display of man's cruelty to man, even with all that, France has refused to admit the wickedness of its action and refused to reimburse Haiti the money, which at today's value would be between 25 and 30 billion United States dollars. That's the value of the money that Haiti had to find to pay France for their freedom. Haiti has endured an agonizing journey for more than 200 years, since it fought off the slave masters and proclaimed its independence. Most of those years were spent under a succession of iron-fisted dictators. You know that over its troubled history, there have been 32 coups in Haiti, 32 occasions on which the government, however that government came into being, was overthrown. So Haiti has never had a chance, even a fighting chance, of developing the institutions required for a stable society and an economy that is able to meet even the basic needs of its people. Today, its political system has virtually collapsed to the point where it is incapable of holding elections. It has no president. The last president, Jovenel Moïse, was assassinated a little over a year and a half ago. It has no functioning parliament. Its judiciary is woefully short of judges. But there's no one to appoint new judges because there's no president, there's no parliament. In this vacuum of legitimate authority, criminal gangs have taken charge. They now control significant sections of the country, ruling by the gun, murders, kidnapping, extortion. The Haitian police pour them, they can't manage them, they can't match them. No economy can function in this kind of instability and turmoil. The people suffer. Unemployment and poverty are rampant. Public services, such as they are, cannot cope. So, for example, almost 40% of the population is not able to read or write because its education system is so poor. Right now, as we speak, Haiti is battling another cholera outbreak because its public health surveillance is so weak. Add to that the tragedies that Haiti has suffered from natural disasters. There's no other country in the Caribbean that has been hit by so many devastating hurricanes and earthquakes. The earthquake in 2010 claimed the lives of hundreds of thousands of Haitians. They haven't even been able to determine the exact amount. So extensive was the damage that was done. Some people are inclined to write off Haiti as a failed state. The question is whether it is a state that has failed or a state that has been failed. Much of the political instability that has defined Haiti's history was partly a result of interference and manipulation by foreign powers. The controversy regarding the manner in which John Bertrand Aristide, the way in which he was whisked out of the country by U.S. forces in 2004, that controversy has never been resolved. Haiti's problems cannot be solved without the support of the international community. It doesn't have the resources. It doesn't have the capacity to solve those problems itself. The institution building that has to be done, putting in place democratic systems that command the trust and confidence of the people, guaranteeing people their fundamental rights and educating them as to the responsibilities that they have to back up those rights and the responsibilities that they have to bear in an orderly society. Addressing the economic and humanitarian crises that engulf the country. These are major challenges that Haiti faces, and they're not going to be able to manage those by themselves. But the solution has to be a Haitian solution, crafted and owned by the Haitian people and supported genuinely by the international community. So we can't tell Haiti what to do. What we can do is to work with them, offer them the best advice we can, introduce them to best practices as has developed in other countries, especially in the Caribbean, where we have been able to maintain stable democracies in most of the Caribbean, certainly within the Caribbean community. But it is here that Haiti has not so much failed, but has been let down. Because I don't think that we, and I use the word we broadly, the international community, but that includes the Caribbean as well, I don't think that we have done as much, anywhere near as much, as we should have done. So today, that's what we're focusing on. We're going to be focusing on the situation in Haiti, what needs to be done now, urgently, and what needs to be done over the long term to help Haiti craft a plan, a roadmap for a sustainable future that can provide hope and opportunity for the Haitian people. Take a break. When I come back, we're going to introduce our first guest. Welcome back. It's Jamaica Live. We're on Bridge 99. Today we're talking about the situation in Haiti. And I think it's important for us to try to get an understanding of what really is that situation, what's the position on the ground. And my first guest is perhaps best suited to help us to get a better understanding. She was born in Haiti, hails from a very prominent Haitian family. We adopted her here in Jamaica, and she has made Jamaica her home for many, many years. And she has been president of the Jamaica Haiti Association. I'm referring to Ms. Myrtha Desulme, and I'm so pleased to welcome her to the program. Myrtha, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you very much. And thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me.
Can you help us, Myrtha, to understand precisely what is the situation in Haiti now as we speak?
Okay, so first let me thank you for the adoption. And I wish to also thank you for a wonderful and comprehensive introduction that you did on Haiti. But the only part that you missed is that in spite of being besieged from birth by imperialist powers who tried their darndest to suffocate the infant nation of Haiti in the crib, Haiti nevertheless managed to flourish in the 19th century, when a lot of Caribbean people, including Jamaicans, including Afro-Americans, were flocking to Haiti for economic opportunities. Because one of the main products of the colony of Saint-Domingue was coffee. And there was a time in the 19th century when Haiti, in fact, it's the Haitian émigrés who fled Haiti after the revolution, the French planters who came to Jamaica, who introduced the coffee plantation to Haiti, the coffee industry to Haiti. They introduced the Catholic Church and the coffee industry, but I've never heard anyone say that, and that is documented at the Institute of Jamaica. But I read the other day some article saying that it was introduced from Turkey or something, because they never want to give any credit to Haiti. Haiti was exporting 40% of the products of the Caribbean at that time.
This is useful information you're providing.
Now, in the 1940s, right after the vicious, terrible American occupation that lasted from 1915 to 1934, Haiti had again another flourishing period when it became the playground of Hollywood stars and jet set, just like Jamaica at the time in the 60s, when Richard Burton, Elizabeth Taylor, and Noel Coward and Errol Flynn and those people used to come to Jamaica. Well, Haiti was also a tourism playground and very successful, had some of the best hotels and French Creole cuisine restaurants that were internationally renowned. And in the 1940s, they had a World Trade International Fair Expo that Bustamante actually attended, and he came back and spoke about how impressed he was with Haiti. So I'm saying all that to say that the cataclysm which is taking place in Haiti today is totally manufactured and engineered by the same international forces, because we're saying that Haiti needs international assistance to come out of the hole that it's in. But it was placed, the U.S. has been destroying Haiti systematically since 1915, right? So that's 108 years of systematic destruction of Haitian economy, destabilization, social and political instability that has been manufactured from outside. Now, let me read to you the mission statement of the UN office in Haiti. The UN's office mandate focuses on two main areas. One, advising the government of Haiti in promoting and strengthening political stability and good governance, including the rule of law, preserving and advancing a peaceful and stable environment, including through supporting an inclusive inter-Haitian national dialogue and protecting and promoting human rights. Two, assisting the government of Haiti through an advisory role with its efforts in the following areas. Okay, so there are 7 points there. I'm only going to read 5 of them. 5 of the most egregious in terms of the fact that you don't even have to pay any attention to the subject of Haiti to know that since the UN took over in Haiti in 2004, there has been a catastrophic deterioration in all of these areas which are supposed to be its mandate to uphold. 1, police professionalism, strengthening of the operational capacities, integrity, and accountability of the Haitian National Police as it maintains public order and protects the population in full respect of human rights, obligations, and gender equality. Community violence reduction and gang violence. Promotion and support to the implementation of a national strategy to reduce gang and community violence, including sexual and gender-based violence. Justice reform. Advancement of reforms in the justice sector, in particular to reduce pretrial detention, ensure accountability for corruption and combat impunity, prison conditions, strengthening the penitentiary administration management and oversight capacities to enhance provision of basic services in prisons in line with human rights standards, human rights protection and accountability, supporting consolidation of national frameworks and strengthening capacities and independence of the national human rights institution and civil society for the protection and promotion of human rights, with a particular focus on women's rights and gender equality. So,
how do you explain that, Myrtha? How do you explain the underperformance or malperformance of the UN?
They are doing exactly the opposite of their mandate in Haiti.
But why?
Because the goal is there's an extermination project going on in Haiti, right?
But the UN couldn't be complicit with that.
Yes, of course. They are the main actors. In fact, the lady who is in charge of the UN office in Haiti actually went to the heart of the Security Council and lauded the gangs, the barbecue gang that you're hearing about right now, that is supposed to be the biggest gang leader. When they federated into, when the gangs hadn't exploded at that time the way they've exploded now, that's when they exploded. They federated in 9 gangs, got together and federated themselves into the G9. And she actually went to the heart of the Security Council and lauded the federation of the gangs. Can you imagine that? I will send you the article if you don't believe me.
I'd love to see it. But I heard, I'd love you to comment on this. I've heard that there is a alliance between some of the gangs and some wealthy interests in Haiti.
Yes, not only wealthy interests, but the government itself. And that is the problem, the crux of the problem of Haiti. The U.S. keeps imposing corrupt governments in Haiti. The very Ariel, de facto Ariel Henry government that we have there is the one fomenting and arming the gangs, because that's their way of governance, to maintain the people in check, so that they won't protest against the unlivable conditions that they're being forced to live under. So because of the terrible track record of the U.S. in Haiti since 1915, since they had a brutal occupation that lasted 19 years until 1934, where they turned the Haitian police and the Haitian army into a vicious force to repress the people, and then maintained Papa Doc Duvalier in power for 30 years of repression and totomacoutes, right? Now, they keep putting these corrupt governments in power because to repress the Haitian people from protesting against everything, the untenability of their situation, right? So this is done on purpose.
Well,
this is done on purpose. So Haiti went from being a struggling nation, which in spite of all the attacks and in spite of all the vicious, the fact that it's besieged by these destructive imperialistic forces, Haiti was managing to hold its own, but it was a post-struggling nation, that, as everybody knows, and it has now become a pit of hell where it is impossible for Haitians to exist. The UN has turned gang leaders into area warlords. I mean, I don't think Jamaica or any developing country, for that matter, is the concept, the phenomenon of the nexus between politics and gangs is not foreign to any developing nation. But the only difference is that in Haiti, the gangs have taken over. There is an official embargo on weapons on Haiti since 2000.
And they have been legitimized.
Legitimized. G9 is
but the
literally
situation,
registered.
Myrtha, the situation you're describing is worse than I even imagined. Is there, within the international community, is there any honest broker there?
Okay, so we have been communicating with CARICOM in the hope that they would be an honest broker, because CARICOM has been known to rubber stamp fraudulent elections when they went as election observers. And CARICOM is basically afraid of the bully on the block. And so even though they know perfectly well what is going on in Haiti, they have not taken the necessary measures. Okay, so I read to you the UN's mandate for Haiti, which they're doing exactly the opposite of. I'm going to read to you just 2 points out of CARICOM's 12-point mission. One is to ensure that social and economic justice and the principles of good governance are enshrined in law and embedded in practice. And two is the respect of the rule of law, protect the assets of the community, and abhor corruption, crime, and criminality in all its forms. Those are just 2 points out of CARICOM's 12-point mission. Yet there's a country in CARICOM's midst that is literally imploding, going to the dogs, and apart from issuing sporadic platitudes about wishing that our sister nation, Haiti, would return to stability, CARICOM remains mum on the subject.
Why is that?
Because they're afraid. They want to remain in the good books of the U.S. and get grants and get whatever economic advantages is coming their way.
What about Canada?
So that is what happened now. The U.S., because of its terrible track record in Haiti, and because they are going all over the world trying to claim the moral high ground on Ukraine and trying to portray Putin as this big, imperialistic monster who has attacked defenseless Ukraine, they cannot now go and do the same thing in Haiti, which they've been doing for the past 108 years, right? But, of course, they've been doing it for the 108 years. During the occupation, it was open and vicious. Then after that, they tried to cover it up as humanitarian aid and the fact that here they are trying to help Haiti, but it's a country that is so corrupt that it's impossible to manage. That's the image they try to give. But not so that so they blame the victims, so people believe it's Haiti with a bunch of crazy people who can't get their act together when they're the ones fomenting the instability and imposing corrupt governments. So now that a lot of the developing world has refused to back the U.S. on the question of Ukraine because everybody's eyes are open now and they're refusing the hypocrisy, because Russia used to help them a lot when they were in their anti-colonial struggle. So they don't take position against Russia. So the U.S. is trying to gain the moral high ground so they cannot now be viciously carrying the big stick policy against Haiti like they've been doing.
So what is Canada's role?
To provide political cover. So they've gone to Canada for Canada to provide political cover. But because Canada has a very powerful and strong Haitian diaspora population, in fact, during the 1960s, when the U.S. was supporting the 30-year Duvalier dictatorship, a lot of the professionals and the middle class and the elite of Haiti fled at that time. And a lot of them have been the mainstay of the educational system in Africa and in Quebec. And they were the main people who were being sent by the UN agencies to build up the educational system in the Francophone African countries and in Canada. So there is a widespread, I think probably the biggest diaspora in Quebec is the Haitian diaspora, who are very powerful, who are the ones who built up the educational system there. They are against the military intervention, why Trudeau is kind of trying to put his foot around the subject, because he doesn't want to be the face of it. So now they're looking for a black face to put on it. So they've come to CARICOM to get political cover. So we've written to CARICOM to ask them not to allow themselves to be drawn into this masquerade, not to allow themselves to amplify the voice of imperialism and continue the destruction of Haiti while they lend their good name then to this masquerade. And we've explained to them exactly that Ariel Henry has no legitimacy, no legality, and there can be no solution as long as he's around.
Is there any role in Haiti, given the current situation? Is there any role in Haiti for foreign armed forces?
Okay, so not foreign forces, right? The police needs technical help. But what happened, okay, let me explain to you. The first problem with the police is that because the government supports the gangs, right, that is what has destabilized the police and prevented them from doing their job. Because the government...
Is the police linked with, is any portion of the police linked with any other gangs?
There is corruption within the police too, because as you can well imagine, the police earn the pittance. And of course, the gangs are very powerful and very wealthy because they're now kidnapping people on a daily basis for hundreds of thousands of dollars. They're carrying out of kind of illegal trade. They are ransoming people, doing all kind of extortion legally. Now you have to have a pass and pay the gangs in order to travel through certain areas. And they're legal. And the government is not saying a word about it. Not a word. Not a word is coming from the government about the rapes, the beheadings, the murders, the massacres, everything that is going on in Haiti. The government doesn't breathe a word about it. Right? Ariel Henry is constantly tweeting about every foolishness that happens all over the world. But he's sitting in a sea of blood and not saying anything about the gangs that are terrorizing the country, the children that are being gang raped, entire towns are set on fire, thousands of people are forced to flee in the middle of the night to go and live on the street. They have to leave the corpses of their loved ones to be eaten by dogs on the street. Prominent personalities are being assassinated. 78 policemen were murdered in the last year, and the government has not said a word about that. So it's clear that all of these atrocities are taking place and being done with the approval of the government.
Is there, Myrtha, is there any semblance of political organization on the ground among the people?
Yes. Okay. So I belong to the Montana group, which is the foremost civil society group that has been formed in Haiti in the last couple of years. And it represents it comprises at least 1,000 civil society organizations and political parties, from labor unions to religious groups to popular organizations, farmers cooperatives, private sector artists, lawyers associations, professional associations, a very wide representation of Haitian society.
Are they unified?
Yes. And we spent 6 months canvassing all over the country and the diaspora to put together an accord that would have the widest possible representativity. And the accord contains a roadmap to build a wide national consensus which should organize a 2-year transition led by a transitional president and prime minister who were actually elected by a 44-member transitional council representing thousands of organizations. And so the objective would be to start with a sovereign national conference and culminate in 2 years with free, fair, and democratic and transparent election process. But that has, and I'm not saying that we're the only civil society group.
And this alliance would be capable of putting up candidates. You see, what I'm trying to get at, I really think that a critical part of the solution is going to be a political organization that has a clear purpose, has a clear set of aims. The last thing I think you want now is to have people just elected sort of independently who can never agree because there's nothing that holds them together. So the question I'm asking is whether or not this group would morph itself into a political party.
Okay. This group didn't start out as we're not a political party, because it was basically a civil society coming together to say, the politicians have made a mess of things for the past 200 years, and civil society cannot just continue to sit on the sideline and watch the country going to hell in a handbasket. And so they decided to spend 6 months canvassing the country, all over the country, and the diaspora, to put together this accord. And this accord has been recognized by U.S. Congress, by the European Union, New York Times, Washington Post, all the biggest international publications, BBC, everyone recognizes that this group is really the one that has the greatest legitimacy and the best roadmap and plan. But I'm not saying we're the only ones. We have been in talks with other groups trying to build a national consensus. But the national consensus is constantly being thwarted by the de facto government coming up with sham accords that are largely plagiarized from the Montana Accord, and they keep just slapping something together over a matter of days with no consensus from the public, only supported by their cronies who have been offered ministries and directorships of government bodies in exchange. And then they run to the international community, and Madame Lalime, Hélène Lalime, who runs the UN office in Haiti, is in cahoots with them because she's the one who put Ariel Henry in power and named him with a tweet. She
how long has the UN been there?
The UN started in 2004, and they spent 13 years until 2017, right? When they had a catastrophic stay when they introduced cholera in Haiti, which killed about 400,000 people and infected at least 1 million without so much as an apology. And then they were denying it for years until all the great scientists confirmed that it was the UN that had introduced cholera into Haiti. They killed Haitians. They murdered Haitians in the inner city under the auspice of trying to kill gangs, when in fact a lot of innocent people were killed. They introduced guns into the country, which is why the gangs have taken over right now. So it was disastrous.
So what is it that the UN Secretary General has been putting forward the last couple of days? So what happened is that the de facto government has lost control of their gangs. They've lost control of their gangs, and they're now running to the international community to come and deal with them to come and deal with the monster they created. And that's what they want. And any military intervention would only serve to maintain this corrupt de facto government in power so that they can change the constitution and they can organize another fraudulent election and put another U.S. puppet in power. That is the objective. So we wrote to CARICOM and we asked them not to allow themselves to be taken into this fraudulent process. Now, they had invited us to, they had invited the Montana group and his stakeholders, other civil society stakeholders, to a retreat which was supposed to take place either in the Bahamas or Jamaica, so that we could all sit around the table and come to a consensus and find a Haitian solution to the crisis. And of course, the de facto government would have been invited too because they're there, right? But it was a question of finding a large consensus amongst all Haitian political parties and civil society groups. That was supposed to have taken place in January. But because the government knew that it was going to take place in January, they ran and slapped together the 21st December Accord to make believe that everything had fallen into place and everyone was holding hands and singing Kumbaya, that Montana had signed the accord, which we did not sign, but they got some fraudsters to say that we signed it. And the UN representative even went to the Security Council to claim that we had signed the accord and that everybody was in accordance with this 21st of December masquerade. So because of that, the retreat did not take place, because CARICOM kind of stood down and said, okay, well, let's see what happens with this accord and let's see where it goes. Because they put up a transitional council, which is supposed to
advise the prime minister, who has no legitimacy, no standing, totally illegal, totally unconstitutional, who has been there for 2 years without a mandate, with no institutions, no check and balances. He's president, he's prime minister, he's chief of police, he heads every department. He's God in Haiti, right? He has no check and balance. And now he's put up this transitional council who's supposed to advise him, right?
What sort of popular following does he have?
People have been marching on the streets for the past year trying to get him out, but that's why they have the gangs, to prevent the people from marching, because the gangs keep the people in check. And then even so, they send police to beat up the people and tear gas them. So he has no popular support, but what happened, he has power in his hand, and he has the support of the UN and the US, and they will not, they're not letting him go. So what we are asking, I mean, we wrote to CARICOM to explain that the 21st of December accord is a sham, but it was too late, because the retreat was supposed to take place before the 44th intercessional heads of government meeting, right?
What came out of that meeting in relation to Haiti?
Well, it seems, I mean, we're very pleased to see that they did not allow themselves to be fooled, and that they have said that they're not about any military intervention, and what they want is to find a Haitian solution to the crisis, and they don't believe that the 21st of December accord has wide consensus or representation, and that they want to speak to they want to continue to speak to the other stakeholders. So the invitation was sent out not only to the Montana Accord, but to other political parties and all the major stakeholders on the political scene in Haiti to come and sit around a table and hammer out a Haitian solution free from the domination of the de facto government. Because in Haiti, you understand that if you try to sit around the table in Haiti, you have the de facto government and their gangs who are dominating the situation. Whereas in a neutral setting, so now it has decided that the retreat will take place in Jamaica, in a neutral setting, where he would just be another player sitting around the table and would not have any dominance.
Myrtha, what would a CARICOM-led intervention look like?
Well, what we need CARICOM to do is to uphold its own mission statement, ensure that social and economic justice and the principles of good governance are enshrined in law and embedded in practice, respect the rule of law, protect the assets of the community, abhor corruption, crime, and criminality in all its forms. That has to be applied to Haiti. It's not words on a piece of paper that you turn the other way and pretend that you're not seeing what is going on in Haiti. So now they need to...
How do we deal with the gangs?
Well, first of all, you need to get rid of the government that are fomenting the gangs and arming them, right? There's an official arms embargo against Haiti since 2004. And the gangs have weapons that are more powerful than the U.S. Army. Now, they have ships in the bay, U.S. naval marine ships, parked in the bay of Haiti to prevent the refugees. They set fire to the house, make life unlivable, make life hell for Haitian people, then they lock the door to prevent the people from fleeing. So the way they prevent the people from fleeing is they park all these ships in the bay, and anyone who manages to flee is repatriated in the most vicious, inhumane manner possible, right? So they can have ships in the bay to prevent people from fleeing the house that they set on fire, but they cannot stop the weapons from coming into Haiti. Haiti does not manufacture guns, right? How are these gangs getting all of these weapons? The first thing we said to them, the first way to stop, they're looking into a military intervention, and we're saying, do the simplest thing. Stop the guns from coming into Haiti. Okay, you don't even have to stop the guns. Stop the ammunition. Once you stop the ammunition, every gang is powerless. They refuse to do that. Well, in all fairness, I must say not even in their own country they can stop the guns when they're having...
No, that is true.
mass murders every other day.
Myrtha,
right?
we're running out of time. Give me in 30 seconds 3 things that need to be done right away.
Right away. The CARICOM, okay? CARICOM needs to bring together all of the stakeholders and determine that the Haitian people are going for the first time, well, I won't say the first time, because the first time the Haitian people chose their own government was under, in universal suffrage, was Aristide, who was deposed within 8 months. Allow the Haitian people to choose their own government in a free, fair, democratic election. Do not rubber stamp fraudulent elections because you're afraid of getting into the crosshairs of the UN and the US who want to maintain corrupt governments in power.
That's true.
Allow the Haitian people to choose their own government who will not foment gangs, who will not arm them in order to remain in power. That's the first thing that needs to be done. And then now, there was a wonderful editorial that came out in a Barbados newspaper about a Marshall Plan for Haiti. A Marshall Plan of development is needed for Haiti. And CARICOM, and especially Jamaica, has a lot of that it can offer in terms of training and governance and logistics and all kind of Caribbean organizations that can help to build back the institutions of Haiti, which were purposely destroyed.
We're out of time, Myrtha. Okay. But I want to thank you so much. I mean, you have given us a lot of backgrounding. When I come back from the break, I'm going to be joined by Mr. P.J. Patterson, who I'm sure is going to be able to help us to flesh out the approach that should be taken. So thank you so very much.
Okay, you're most welcome.
Right. Welcome back. It's Jamaica Live. We're on Bridge 99, and today we're talking about the situation in Haiti, trying to see if we can identify what course of action, what kind of intervention is necessary, and how should that come about to address the situation there. And I'm very, very pleased now to welcome to the program. He has been here before, but I'm so happy to welcome him again, former Prime Minister, the most Honorable P.J. Patterson. P.J.?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm glad that you were able to join us.
Yes.
I had Myrtha Desulme on before.
Yes, I heard most of it towards the end.
Well, having listened to her, the situation appears to me to be even more complex than I had thought. I'm sure you'll agree with me that we cannot leave Haiti to suffer in terminal illness, but trying to identify not just what needs to be done, but what is doable befuddles me. Now, I know nothing can befuddle you. Help me out.
I wish I could repay the confidence you have demonstrated by that statement. Let me share the view that this is a conundrum, or perhaps a conundrum. It's many, many problems. As you're aware, I was particularly involved in efforts to restore Haiti after the earthquake. And the approach we took was that this was an opportunity not only to restore and rebuild Haiti, but allow Haiti to embark on a renaissance of the kind which it experienced when it defeated the army of Napoleon. I'm going to say what my main findings were in terms of the difficulty, all of which have been multiplied several times by the present situation. First of all, a lot of people are going to disagree with me for saying that. but Haiti has not enjoyed the benefit for any sustained period of political parties. And the consequence of that is there is no number of groups that you can go to, bring together, and get some idea of what could be a possible consensus. The second thing...
Can I just interrupt you there, PJ? Because I raised that matter with Myrtha, you know. I asked her whether there's any sort of political organization on the ground, where she spoke about the Montana Group, which is really an amalgam of civil society organizations. But the point I was trying to make to her is that, because she spoke about a timetable that would have free elections in 2 years, what I suggested to her is that I'm not sure that it is a workable solution to end up 2 years' time, even if you do have free elections, with a bunch of people who have been elected, but they don't sit together under any roof anywhere, and therefore there's no cohesive plan.
That's a very real difficulty. You're talking with disparate groups, but they have comparatively little traction on the ground. So you don't know what it is that can achieve a national consensus. But in addition to the absence of political parties, there's also the question of the institutional structures which are lacking and the administrative capacity. So, for example, many pledges were made, which, if they had been received, would have made a major transformative process in Haiti possible. The fact is, when you meet with the Haitian authorities, there is such a constant shift of the personnel who are involved in the decisions who are necessary to implement it, that by the time you're ready to go, it's a new set of people because the previous set have moved to different places and there is no record. So you're almost spinning in the mud. Now, one of the things, Bruce, that you and I recognize, the big difference between the EU and the CARICOM group is that CARICOM has no independent funding and it has no staffing of its own. So whatever it is to do depends on the generosity and goodwill of individual governments who more often than not are able to make a contribution in kind, important though that is, but no financing. Dealing with the present situation, what has to be recognized is, unlike the period after the earthquake, the democratic legitimacy of the present regime is questioned by the Haitian people. And in fact, the gangs, as they're properly described, get some traction on the ground and some support from communities, not only because they offer a form of protection against rival gangs in other communities, but also because they are going to the very central question, taking into account some of the lingering doubts that have been raised as to the constitutional authority of the present Prime Minister. So it is a very, very difficult question.
Can I just interrupt you? I want to bring in the New York audience. Beauregard, are you there?
Good afternoon, Mr. Goldie.
Hi, Bo. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, sir. How are you?
Not bad. We're talking about Haiti today, and I know there is a very strong and powerful Haitian community in New York.
Yes, there is.
And I have with me on the program former Prime Minister P.J. Patterson, who I'm sure your listeners would appreciate hearing his views on this subject. So we're going to continue the discussion.
Definitely. Good afternoon, Mr. Patterson.
Hi, good afternoon. Let me cut to the chase. I have read portions of the communique issued by the regional leaders at their meeting in the Bahamas last week. And I want to publicly endorse their decision not to send troops on the ground as part of any international contingent. I support that position for two reasons. First of all, in the present situation, it would mean a foreign army going in against the popular will and having to fight against the rival gangs.
With no legitimacy.
That is going to cause wanton destruction.
Yes.
Secondly, the experience from the last international troops is extremely bad because it is not questioned. It is that group that brought back cholera to Haiti. And tried though we did to get the United Nations to accept some responsibility, they pleaded sovereign diplomatic immunity. And to this day, some thousands of Haitian victims and families have received no compensation whatsoever. I therefore strongly support the idea that what we must do and what we can do is render technical support to help in the recruitment, in the training of the local security forces. Now, they are going to need equipment, and we ourselves are short of that. So we're going to have to ask other countries and indeed some international agencies to assist in this regard. The UN is obviously best suited to coordinate and to contribute to that.
Well, two things I want to raise.
Secondly, if I just may finish this. I've read a statement by the civil society collection of people. I accept certainly their main contention that it is the Haitian people who must determine their own destiny. But the question is, how can that be done in the present, I wouldn't say volatile, I would say inflammable situation? I think of all the countries that may be able to provide leadership and act in partnership with CARICOM, Canada is the best prospect. I know that there have been some fears raised about Canada's role in the removal of President Aristide, but certainly the United States is not likely to command respect and ready acceptance among the Haitian people. And of course, the French are totally out of consideration. So the force of my presentation is, I hope, arising from the summit and the presence of Prime Minister Trudeau, there's going to be an alliance forged. Canada, CARICOM. Canada can help to supplement those things in which we are inadequate. And I'm talking now principally about some capital, and I'm talking about some equipment. I think also, and I'm glad the diaspora is on, they can contribute a great deal. But it might be surprising for you to hear that we have to find a way of bringing the entire Haitian diaspora together, not just the separate chapters operating individually. And it's very difficult for CARICOM to do that by itself. It certainly needs some push and some help from Haiti, even given its structural weaknesses about which I spoke. The point, my point is, it's not going to be an easy solution. I certainly also support the idea of bringing together somewhere outside of Haiti representatives of the government, representatives of the civil society, which are included in the document that they have signed. I would also like the church, that has a considerable influence in Haiti, to see if somehow or the other we can reach a consensus on achieving that level of peace that would permit the holding of democratic elections, which can result in the choice of a government with a mandate to do what is necessary to rebuild Haiti and place it on a path of democratic progress and sustainable development.
Two issues I want to raise with you. One, do you know, or do you have a sense as to whether the CARICOM leaders had reached some kind of agreement on this leadership coordinating role that CARICOM would play?
I don't know specifically whether or not they did. In the absence of that, I would expect that the incumbent chairman of CARICOM, who is the Prime Minister of Bahamas, would ordinarily be expected to be the head that takes the lead instantly. I can't go further than that because I have not been privy to the details of their decision.
The second one goes back to something I raised earlier, and something that you had also alluded to, and that is, there seems to me, though, to be a missing element, a vacuum. because there's no solution that is going to be able to gain healthy legs unless you're able to get the Haitian people to buy into it, to have faith in it. Question I really want to put to you is there an Aristide lying around somewhere who could mobilize and inspire that kind of support?
I don't know of any single individual whose name I can call that would satisfy that. But you would have to leave that for the people to decide and buttress whoever is
emerges
chose with the necessary support.
Yes. When I had Myrtha on, she was cynical, would be a very mild word. She was very harsh in her criticism of the role being played by the UN contingent there. Is that an area of concern?
They have not been accepted by the Haitian populace, and some of that.
And the Montana group, I suspect, is concerned.
That's correct, and you see it reflected in the statement which they have issued.
I'm sort of stumbling for words because we have this sort of proposal or framework roadmap that the Montana group has put out. I've had a chance to study it myself. You perhaps have had a closer look at it. If it's workable, is that something that CARICOM, if it prepared to assert itself, could grab hold of?
From my point of view, it has a number of salient ingredients, but what I think it needs to have is reinforcement by a level of pragmatism. What do I mean by that? Whether you question his legitimacy or not, there is a de facto prime minister who is head of the government of Haiti. Unless you are going to remove him, and that would have to be done by external force or a civil overthrow, you can't ignore or bypass him and his ministers and find another source that has any greater semblance of democratic legitimacy. So I think he has to be included.
Myrtha acknowledged that too, you know. She acknowledged that. She said that he has to be part of the consultation.
That's right. And I, as I mentioned before, I would not disqualify Canada from taking a lead role. Certainly among what I might call the major powers in the hemisphere, I think Canada is best suited, and you're going to need some major external support of a kind which CARICOM just isn't able to provide at this time. Nearly all of us, our resources are very stretched, particularly in the area of security, where we face our own considerable challenges. You will have noticed that even the public press in Jamaica, there is a point of view being expressed: how can we be sending people to Haiti when we can't cope with our own problems? I think the leadership has recognized that, by saying we're not sending troops on the ground. We're sending people to help in training, and I think we have the capacity to do that. And so indeed, do other CARICOM countries who are prepared to contribute. In fact, we started to do that, even including the Caribbean Court of Justice that went and had meetings with the Haitian judiciary.
I don't know if Myrtha was exaggerating, overstating, but I became very concerned when she suggested that the gangs and the current government and the United States are in cahoots.
That's strongly reflected in the statement that they have put out, and I think the reason for it is, one, they have powerful weapons. They must have come from somewhere. The nature of it, the volume of it, suggests that they didn't just escape the places of origin and slip into Haiti by accident. And secondly, I noticed that Canada is offering to put some sort of naval blockade in the vicinity. But they have these powerful weapons, and somebody paid for them. And the question is whether I certainly have no conclusive evidence that governments themselves are necessarily involved, but it couldn't have happened without some laxity on the part of the countries from which those arms and ammunition came. They're powerful weapons.
Well, you remember how Henry Morgan became governor? You know, I mean,
Yes.
he had the biggest gun.
That's right. I mean, have you seen some of the pictures in Haiti? And they walk about it openly.
Yeah.
And indeed, the local police can't match them. So that's why, in addition to training, they have to get some resources, some capacity to be able to counter this. And I noticed even over the weekend that a lot of the present members of the security forces are applying for passports to get visas in the hope that they will be able to get permanent residence in the United States,
PJ.
which is going to further deplete the size of already inadequate security forces.
And they're harassing me that I have to take a break. You can spend some more time with me?
Yes, I will.
Because I'm gonna, if you don't mind, I want to bring on Ron Sanders as well, and we'll
Certainly.
wrap up with both of you. Let's take a
Sure.
break. Welcome back. It's Jamaica Live. We're on Bridge 99. We've been talking about Haiti today, not just bemoaning what is happening there. That doesn't really help. But trying to see if we can find a way to help the Haitian people to craft a solution that can take them forward. And we've been talking with former Prime Minister P.J. Patterson. Very pleased to bring on the program now Sir Ronald Sanders, who is the ambassador of Antigua and Barbuda to the United States and is permanent representative to the Organization of American States. Ron, are you there?
I'm here.
Yeah, and P.J. Patterson is on the program as well.
Oh, well, my greetings to him.
Yes. We've been looking at the situation in Haiti. You have written about it. When I took the break and just before you came on, where our conversation seemed to be heading was the desirability of a CARICOM-led non-military intervention that seeks to help the Haitian people to put in place the basic requirements that would be necessary to A, stabilize the situation, B, to create the conditions that would allow for free and fair elections so that a government can be properly elected. All of that, of course, as colossal as that seems to be in terms of achieving that would only really start the process because they have a long way to go after that. What are your thoughts?
Haiti is an extremely complex problem. We've been battling with this in the Organization of American States over the last 7 years. And as you know, it's been an issue as well that has been contemplated frequently by the UN Security Council. Unfortunately, I think generally countries around the world believe that the correct forum for dealing with Haiti is the United Nations Security Council itself, which under Chapter 7 of that treaty is the sole authority for dealing with a country where insecurity threatens to overspill from within itself to others. And unfortunately, the UN Security Council has kicked that issue into tall grass. It has avoided dealing with Haiti in terms of an intervention such as that has been requested by Ariel Henry, the present Prime Minister of Haiti, who's asked for an armed military force of sufficient strength to bring an end to the humanitarian crisis in Haiti, which in his official letter, he says is caused by the criminal gangs which have now overrun the place.
What's your view of
the
that?
UN Security Council...
What's your view of that request?
Well, it's a strange request, and frankly, it's a request that he made to the Organization of American States, he made it in October, having attempted to get the Security Council of the UN to do something about it, and them rejecting it. He decided to drop the level at which he would try to get an intervention, and focused it on the OAS. Now, the reason he's focused it on the OAS is because of the two main countries in the hemisphere to which he would be making that appeal are the United States and Canada. That's why it was pitched there. But it has been pitched there but did not receive a great warmth or any enthusiasm by a number of countries. Countries feel that Prime Minister Henry himself is not an elected Prime Minister, may not have the backing of the country to make a request for a military intervention. And indeed, that thought may have been reflected in a letter which the Secretary General of the United Nations wrote on the 9th of October to the President of the Security Council after he was asked to consider what the options could be for Haiti. And what he said was basically two things. One, if countries bilaterally wish to help Haiti after a proper request that was supported by all the parties in Haiti, then the Security Council should consider endorsing that bilateral arrangement. But he made a condition that it should be a request from coming out of some strong political organizational dialogue in Haiti itself that reflected the views of all the people.
But that framework doesn't exist, Ron. That framework doesn't exist to get that sort of...
No, it doesn't. And he was calling for its existence.
But even before we get there, what's your view? Would an external armed force in Haiti create more problems than we have right now?
I think it would, frankly, depending on who that external force was and what their mandate was. It could be very problematic. I am fearful, for instance...
PJ has strong views on it. But PJ, you want to share them with Ronald?
Yes. I was saying it's going to be war between the international group, no matter whether or not they're authorized by the Security Council, and the gangs which are pervasive and very strong, well-armed, and very efficient. And secondly, I recounted earlier on, as you are well aware, the experience of Haiti on the last occasion when international troops were sent in and brought with them cholera. And the United Nations, instead of offering any sort of compensation to Haiti, resorted to the doctrine of sovereign immunity. And to date, the victims of cholera have received no recompense or remedy of any sort. So I don't think that is going to be able to command any kind of consensus between the government and the representative groups of civil society.
The thing that worries me, though, and I put it to both of you, let us say that CARICOM were to become very assertive, recognize that it has a particular responsibility that is perhaps even greater than the US or Canada, because it is in our little corner of the woods, no? And let us say that they are prepared to be the face and be the sort of driving force, working with the Haitian people, working with such civil society organizations, whatever is there, to see how we can help Haiti to find a solution. And let us say that whether through the UN, through bilateral discussions, trilateral discussions, we were able, as PJ says, we would have to do to obtain the necessary financial and equipment and human resource support to go in and do a good job. The big question is, how do you deal with the gangs who are now in effective control of large and important sections of the country?
I think the leaders of the gangs are very well known. And I think there needs to be some discussion by appropriate persons and themselves. One of their main bones of contention has to do with the question of the democratic legitimacy of the present regime. That's the basis on which many of them are contending that they have a right to have their leaders as much in the decision-making process as those who presently occupy those seats. So I don't think you can proceed without a willingness to meet with them. They may not be the persons to be included in the broader meeting that is held, but there must be some discussion with them.
The Montana group had put forward, from what Myrtha told me, had put forward some proposal for some kind of constituent assembly. My word, she didn't use that word.
Yes.
But some sort of representative body that would put in place an interim administration that has some legitimacy while the work is being done for democratic election to be held. Have you seen that, Ron? Have you seen that proposal?
Yeah, I've seen it, and I've since seen other things. Remember that Montana group was kind of rejected by Henri, and they lost complete faith in him after he declined to carry out the commitments he himself had made to them for that same National Constituent Assembly. But look, I should tell you that last week in the Organization of American States, a resolution which I and others had worked on was adopted by acclamation by all of the countries, And that resolution empowers us to establish a working group, which working group is responding to a letter from Ariel Henry to the Secretary General of the U.S., asking for requests for many things, including a military force, which has been rejected, but other areas of support are being taken into account. So the dialogue mechanism, which you say, Bruce, quite rightly, is not in place, is one of the mandates that is going to be given to this working group at a meeting which will be held on Wednesday. The working group will invite the government of Haiti to participate with us, including with this high-level national council that was set up in December by the government and some private sector people and some political parties. I say some because it was by no means inclusionary, a point that was made by the heads of government at their meeting last week in the Bahamas, that it does need to consist of more people who have a strong voice and a strong influence in Haiti if this high-level national council is to be effective. But in any event, a working group of the U.S. is going to start a dialogue with the government, including this high-level national council and others, to see whether we can foster the dialogue between the parties, and also whether we can help to try to get from them what is it Haiti wants us to do in the international community, short of sending troops. What is it precisely you want us to do? How can we help you to get elections going, if that is your objective? And Henry keeps saying that is what he wants. How do we help you to stabilize the country? And how do we help you to move toward a democracy? In other words, to stop what is happening now, a country which is being ruled by decree, by a group that is not elected by anyone, a country that has no legislature, a country whose judiciary is dysfunctional, and whose the separation of power simply does not exist, and which, as you say, is overrun by criminal gangs, 200 of them, which feel that they have a legitimate reason to exist because of the chaos in Haiti, which they incidentally did not create, though they are contributing to its worsening now.
PJ, do you have a sense as to what credibility CARICOM commands among the Haitian people?
It's something about which I've made a comment as recently as last year when I was interviewed in the Bahamas. The fact is, we invited Haiti into the Caribbean community because before that, Haiti was totally isolated. But the integration into the community is incomplete. And certainly, it has not commanded what I might call widespread public acceptance. So those in the know recognize that they belong to CARICOM. But until the government and the people of Haiti and the civil society in Haiti begin to not only accept verbally, but begin to enunciate that they are members of the CARICOM family.
And feel a part of it.
Are seen a part of it. And that's very important when it comes to things like the Security Council. At the present time, we don't have an actual member, but we would want to establish a situation where whenever Haiti is being discussed, some CARICOM country is accepted readily as being authorized to participate and contribute to that debate. So this is perhaps another reason why I'm suggesting that a partnership is extremely important. One of the things about Canada is that there are so many Haitians of substance and of influence residing in Canada who have resonance within Haiti, that it is a spur for the Canadians, and I think gives their involvement some greater leverage when acting in partnership with the Caribbean community.
Your thoughts, Ron? And is Canada an honest broker?
Well, I'm not. Let me say this: that I have had 7 years now of involvement with Haiti, including leading an OAS delegation there in 2016 when Michel Martelly was in office and his presidency had come to a constitutional end and he was refusing to leave. And those around him, his cabinet, were telling him that he could not leave because there had been no elections to replace him. All of that is true. There was not an election to replace him, largely his own fault. But the point is that his constitutional period had come to an end. Haiti was again in the situation in which it now is, in crisis. I mean, it's worse now than it was, but it rolls, as you know, from one crisis to another. And there were people outside his palace, and there was murder being on the street. They were waiting for, if he did not leave, there were going to be riots the next day. Anyway, the team that I led managed to get him to agree to depart and for a transitional government to be put in place, which for a year and a half gave Haiti some peace until elections were held when, unfortunately, Bois, who was assassinated, was elected by only 16.6% of the popular vote. But the problem is that I tell you all of that merely to say this, that in my experience of Haiti, first of all, the Caribbean is not well known by the Haitian people. That's the first point we have to take account of. The Caribbean, they know, relates to the Bahamas because it's a route on the way to the United States, which is where they want to go, and Jamaica because of its proximity. And, of course, the Dominican Republic, with whom they share an island. But as for the rest of the English-speaking Caribbean, the Haitian people are not aware of the Caribbean. Now, the Caribbean community itself has had very little presence in Haiti over time. We did have an office there right up until the earthquake that mashed up the country, and that was the end of CARICOM's presence there with any physical presence there. Now, Haitians always turn in the international community to three countries first. They choose to go to the United States, number one, France, number two, and Canada, number three. The CARICOM is never on their radar. We come into their consideration only after they have failed to get anywhere with those three countries or anybody else in the international community, and then they turn to CARICOM. This happens in every international forum in which I have operated with Haiti. It has not incidentally stopped me or any of my Caribbean colleagues from being active in support of the cause of the Haitian people, for all of the very good reasons that we know and we believe in, that we should pursue. Because as we see it, Haiti is a Caribbean country. It is now a CARICOM country. But more than that, we owe a debt to Haiti that none of us will ever be able to repay. And that debt was the fact that they struck the first blow for the end of slavery and the liberation of all of our countries eventually. So we keep on trying, though I must tell you that even in trying to be an honest broker with people in Haiti, they prefer to deal with countries they think they have the closest relationships with and who can deliver the kind of resources they want. Not just money, but also in this particular case, the kind of military intervention that they're seeking. So we are not exactly in the front line of Haitian thinking.
But to what extent?
And I think we.
But to what extent, Ron, is that request for military intervention? Is that the Prime Minister's request, or is that something that the people would support?
No, it is the Prime Minister's request,
yes.
And in fact, all that I have seen since then, I've seen the human rights groups in Haiti saying that this is not a good idea, that there are other things that could be done rather than a military intervention. So it is his idea, and some argue that it is his idea because this is one way of keeping himself in power.
Well, PJ was suggesting. I don't want to pronounce where he wasn't spelling, but you cannot ignore the fact that those gangs exist. You cannot ignore the fact that they wield substantial control. There perhaps will have to be an engagement. Myrtha Desulme is.
Yes, well, yeah, well. If I may say, Bruce, I think PJ is perfectly right. I mean, it's a hell of a thing to say that what you would do is to involve gangs, people who are doing criminal activity in a discussion. But unfortunately, that is the position we have now reached in Haiti.
And there are many countries in Africa where we have had to do that, no?
Yes, we've also had to do it in Colombia with the FARC.
Yeah.
It was done elsewhere. Because these criminal gangs are created out of political circumstances of disaffection. It didn't start off as money. It started off as political disaffection. It then turned out into an easy way of making money by criminality. But the point is that there are some of these gangs that will have to be engaged because they're not going to relinquish lightly what they now control.
Yes.
And that is a reality we will all have to face up.
We're almost.
And
it's. Go ahead.
And it's easy to say that a military intervention will be the answer, but as PJ says, it would be a war.
Yes. And
people will die in that war. And one of the considerations we have to have in CARICOM is, do we want to put our people in harm's way?
Yes.
Now, I would do that if there are soldiers or policemen in Antigua or somewhere else who say, I volunteer to go, that's one thing. But to send them would be quite another.
And nor should we want to put the Haitian people in harm's way. We are almost at the end of the program. PJ, any final comments?
No, I still remain of the view that to enable Haiti to chart its own destiny, which is the expressed will and intention of CARICOM and all nations of goodwill, we have at the present time to fashion a partnership between Canada and CARICOM, and to the extent we are all members of the OAS, so the two activities need not be contrary to each other. I think the time has come when we have to get a meeting of the leading contending parties, perhaps somewhere in the Bahamas. I did it in the case of settling the Aristide question many years ago. Bahamas is well suited to be the convener, and they happen to be in the chair. And I think we can work with the OAS and seeing how out of that we can carve any solution. If we can get a transitional government in place, fine, but I think there's going to be very stubborn resistance from the present Prime Minister and his administration. That doesn't mean we shouldn't try. I think that that's the next step after this. The CARICOM chairman had said that in 2 weeks after the conference in Nassau, we'll be hearing further about the CARICOM plan. So I await the announcement of that.
Gentlemen, thank you both very much. Former Prime Minister of Jamaica, the Most Honorable P.J. Patterson, and Antigua and Barbuda's Ambassador to the United States, Sir Ronald Sanders. They have brought great value to the discussion. We've been looking at Haiti. How can we help? How can we help them to find a solution to their problem? Because it has to be their solution. Hope you benefited from the program. Hope you found it instructive. We'll be back here again next week, Monday at 12 noon to do it all over again. Jamaica Live on Bridge 99.